Hey everybody, and welcome to Don't Copy That Floppy. I'm your host Lex.
I'm your other host Dan, and we are your weekly video game news podcast here on Chipbit Radio at chipbit.net. We are broadcasting to you live from 7 to 8 p.m. tonight, as we do every Friday. Asterisk.
Not valid every Friday.
Not valid every Friday. And we're going to be talking to you about video games. We're going to be talking less about news specifically this week, and more about just some games, because
we got to go to PAXEast.
We got to go to PAXEast on this past Sunday, March 12th, and we played a whole humdinger of games.
Yeah.
Of all different shapes and sizes that we would love to talk about. We met a lot of very nice indie developers.
A lot of very foreign indie developers.
Very foreign as well. Nice nonetheless. I just want to say, Australia, killing it.
Oh, totally.
Because every single person I've ever met from Australia has been delightful.
Oh yeah, because you've traveled, you've met other people from Australia.
I've met many Australians, and I've never been upset with my experience. You guys, from the heart, I love you. What a wonderful country. I feel like it's like a counterweight for the fact that all the animals there are murderous beasts. And even the plants try to kill you, that the people are just very kind. So it's good.
Good.
So yeah, we have a ton of games to talk about. We're just going to kind of go through them one by one, and we do have some news that we'll try to fit in towards the end, just as more general gaming world news.
Yeah, because we gotta gloat towards the end about one particular story.
I especially need to gloat about it. Because this whole week I've been silently rejoicing. I'm like, yes! Everyone noticed. So let's start with this game, Death Squared, that you played, Lex, by, is it SMG? Is that the game? Is that the developer?
I believe so, yes.
On our stream right now, since we're streaming on Twitch, as well as on Chipbit Radio, I will be playing trailers and showing screenshots of the games as we talk about them.
You want to take a guess which country this game is from?
Which country this game is from?
I'll give you a hint. It's in theme with what we've already talked about.
Is it Australia?
Yes. It is. So these are some Australian devs.
I too played a delightful Australian game at PAX.
It's really fun. So this is a co-op puzzler.
Yes.
And if you're watching the footage, you can see that you control a little block robot guy.
These cute little robots with different numbers of eyes.
And you move around on sort of these floating blocks.
Yes.
You can accidentally fall off the floating blocks, in which case you will explode.
Or you can, on purpose, push your friends off the floating blocks, it appeared.
But you don't want to do that. Because this whole game is about cooperating to solve whatever puzzle the level is presenting you with.
Right.
And the objective, I think, to all of the levels is there are little circular pads that correspond with your block's color.
Yeah, it seems like there's specific spots that your block needs to get to.
And you complete the level by having everybody being on their corresponding color thing. But the problem is that there's all these different obstacles, the terrain will move in different ways, either on time intervals or because of different pads that are pushed.
It's a lot of color-coded threats.
Yes.
Because there's lasers, too, that are color-coded.
And the lasers are super interesting. So the lasers, sometimes they're stationary, sometimes they're moving around. Sometimes the other player controls them by the way they move.
That's delightful.
Which is fun. But
it's very dangerous.
Yeah, no, I think I did one puzzle where there was one laser and the other player, whenever they moved closer to their pad that they needed to get to, it moved the laser closer to me.
I will note also, this game actually released the day after we were at PAX.
Yes, so March 13th this game came out, so it is now out. It is on Steam.
It's $20. It is currently 4% off.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. 4%.
I get it. Is it a joke?
I don't know.
Are they going for a joke? Because they're cube square guys?
I guess.
There's 4 of them.
I don't know.
Or is it just a weird Steam thing? But
yeah, so there are lasers. Usually, the way those work is if it's a laser that's the same color as your block, you can sort of run into it and block it, and it won't hurt you. But if it's a different color, then it will straight up kill you. There's also spiked things that show up.
Yep.
And there's usually movable blocks on some of the levels, so you can use those to either...
And there's blocks that don't exist until a certain color person, like, does something to create them.
Oh, this is cool. There's sort of these holographic blocks that have...
a screenshot I got up right.
Yeah, that have colors that will correspond to the different bots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that... I believe the level I played with those, and I think this is how they work throughout everything, is that you can pass through them if you're their color.
Okay.
Otherwise, they're solid. So often they're blocking terrain that other people need to get to.
Yes.
So it'll be like, I mean, the one I played is I had to move through them to get to an area where I could press a button.
To disable them?
Yeah, to disable them or like create another path so that people could get around.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's super good. It is one of those games that, as they told me when I was there, it will test friendships. And I think that's certainly something.
Did you speak with any of the developers?
Oh yeah, I spoke with, I think, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah. Because I know there were some booths where I didn't speak to like a developer, but I spoke to people who were kind of.
I spoke to like a couple of art people.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
At Yacht Club's booth, I spoke to an intern.
Oh yeah,
he was a nice guy.
It's because Yacht Club are big time. They don't have time
to talk to me. Don't talk to the interns.
But it's funny. This game has multiplayer, and then it also has a story mode. And I was talking...
Tell me more.
Well, I went and I talked to the guy and I was like, oh, there's a story mode? Tell me more. And he's like, well, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to give you any spoilers.
How deep does the lore go?
Yeah, and I was just like, that's okay, dude. Just talk about the gameplay. It's fine.
So, yeah, that game looks cool. We also have...
this is one of my favorite games.
This was one of my favorites, too, I think.
We played this together.
We did, because it has couch co-op.
It does have couch co-op. A lot of the games there had co-op, and I was happy about that.
As you can see, a side-scrolling shooter with cover mechanics and all sorts of good guns in a kind of sci-fi Mad Max aesthetic.
And it is called...
Hunt Down.
Hunt Down.
And it's by Swedish developers.
Yeah.
We spoke to one of the devs. He was a really nice guy, eager to talk to us about his cool bounty hunter video game.
This graphically, this game looks like something from the
Sega
Genesis.
Sega Genesis or something, yeah. But it definitely has a level of gameplay depth that most things back then did not have. What with the cover systems and things like that. And the objective of the game, if you're watching this right now, you walk through a level and you kill everybody. That's the game. There's motorbikes. There's big cop men. We fought a hockey man who was like a mini boss.
Oh, we did fight a hockey man
who was like hitting grenades at us with his hockey stick.
Yeah, there are different. You
play as bounty hunters in the future.
Yeah, and it feels like
cop robot.
That was great. And it feels like as I think I said when we were there, I'm like, oh, it's the future of 1997.
Yeah,
because it's the future as you see it in 80s movies like Escape from New York or RoboCop.
Right.
And it's
kind of a grungy near future aesthetic.
Super urban.
Yeah, but really cool. Very satisfying gameplay. The guns feel really good. The game controls very well.
Apparently, this has melee options, which I didn't even realize while I was playing.
Hey, man, this rabbit hole goes way deeper than we thought.
It also has a cover system, sort of.
Yes.
A very light cover system.
Yeah. But it's great. We had a ton of fun playing it, and I like it just on the merit that it is a 2-player couch co-op shooter. And that's enough reason for me to pick it up. And just have it.
The name of the devs, because I'm looking at my notes now.
Yes.
Easy Trigger is the studio that made this.
I think I wrote that down too.
And let's see, this is coming out for Steam, the Xbone, the PS4.
Yep.
And also the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, it was coming out for a ton of stuff. I remember us commenting on that actually when we were there.
Because it was part of a big area of games that were coming to the Switch.
So does that mean we will get Nintendo Switch local multiplayer for this game?
No, because the controls are so simple. It's one of those things where each person holds a Joy-Con.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, the Switch is becoming like an incredible indie games machine.
It is. Because I mean, that's what I was hoping. But when we went to PAX, it seemed to confirm that theory.
Pretty easy to develop on it. It seems like so. Like a lot of indie devs are like, yeah, let's just put it on there.
And we know that like
Shovel Knight's already on there.
Yeah. We know that it can't handle all of the really crazy graphics of AAA titles,
Yes.
but usually indie games aren't too worried about that, so it's fine. Anything else I wanted to say about this? These guys, what was I going to say? Oh, we have to wait a while on this game, though. That was my big...
Yes.
My big disappointment with
it.
it.
The end of the year, at least, I think, is...
Yeah, that's what they were saying. And they seemed a little fuzzy on it, so it probably will be longer than that.
I mean, that's how things go.
So, January, February 2018 is probably when we're going to be seeing Hunt Down, but check that out. It's great.
So, let's talk now about Ape Out, which I believe was the second game I touched on the show floor, right after I played a little Strafe.
Oh, we played Strafe.
We mentioned that very quickly. We played Strafe. That is the highest mouse sensitivity
I've ever experienced. And I can't tell if it's because the game is just programmed like that, or if the devs set it up that way because they just wanted to mess with people.
I feel like that's the intent, though, is like you're supposed to play Strafe like that.
Maybe. I don't know if it was like because Strafe is such a tongue-in-cheek game.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to whether when they set it up, they were like, let's just crank the mouse sensitivity.
It's all just a big joke.
It's all just a big joke.
Nonetheless, Strafe, it was a fun game. It's cool.
It played really well. It was great.
The guns were good. Like, the movement felt good. Like, the enemies were great.
And man, it felt like the 90s when I was playing that game.
So much. In every way. But we also played at Devolver Digital's area this game called Ape Out.
Yeah.
Which is a game where you play as a gorilla who's trying to escape the zoo or something. I guess it's a zoo, but everybody has guns.
Everybody has guns.
And I'm sure that we did not make any, but I'm sure that this developer was inundated with Harambe jokes the entire time he was at PAX.
Oh, yeah. That must have been horrible.
We didn't make any, thank God. We're better than that. But we spoke to, like, the lead guy behind this, a nice dude named Gabe, who was eager to talk to us about Ape Out and get the controller in our hands. And I think we both had a very good experience with this game.
So this game, play some of that trailer.
Sweet trailer.
This game has a super interesting graphic style.
Yes.
It's very, just sort of like...
Top down.
Couple
colors.
A couple colors. Silhouettes. It's lots of silhouettes. And you're an ape. You're a gorilla.
I want us to be quiet for just a second while I play the... trailer sound.
Oh,
just so people can hear the music.
Big part of the game.
That's what you want. So, as you can tell, there is a dynamic jazz soundtrack in this game.
This is one of the cool things about this game. Also, and I didn't think I realized it at the time, but the game's art aesthetic kind of looks like a jazz poster. So it sort of makes sense.
This game is secretly brilliant.
But yeah, it's whenever you walk, you hear it affects like the drum beat,
sounds, and
like the rate at which you move affects the tempo a little bit.
And there's cymbal crashes when you throw guys and kill them and stuff like that.
But basically, the gameplay is you're an ape. You're wandering through a maze which is randomly generated.
Randomly generated maps with random enemy placements and everything, and your object is to get from one side of it to the other side of it. It's quite difficult.
It's very difficult. It's interesting because after you either complete it or fail, it'll zoom out and show you the layout of the whole sort of area and then which path you took.
Yeah, kind of a neat thing.
And you can see how far you got, and that would be really helpful if you ever played the same area twice, but you don't.
Are you sure you can?
I mean, maybe there's a setting for that.
Random loads up, and then you can retry that same stage.
Oh,
perhaps?
Maybe. I don't know, because I was too good, so I didn't...
we were just too good at the game. The way we both lost halfway through that level.
Yeah.
I think we both had a pretty equivalent performance at this game. We both got about the same length into the level.
It was funny, when we were at the booth, they had a bunch of, game stations set up. And then they had a big flat screen TV and a couch. And this game. And we were talking to Gabe about it, and we were like, yeah, we gotta play this. This looks so cool. He's like, oh, do you want to play on the couch? It's so hard to get people to play on there because nobody wants to be in the spotlight.
But we have no shame.
Yeah, I was like, dude, there isn't a line? Let me at it.
Yeah, let me play on that couch.
And that couch was so comfortable.
A game we're going to talk about later, I just got to bring up the incredible rudeness of a certain man at PAX.
I remember the story.
My wife was with us, and she and I sat down on a couch to play a game that we'll talk about a little bit later. And we were playing it, and the cords were kind of stretched from the TV to the couch, and they were lifted a bit off the ground, and this dude is just like speed walking, and he just speed walks in, and he's clearly going to go between us and the TV. So I'm thinking, like, that's kind of rude, man. You could just go around. We're trying to play the game.
Yeah, go break our concentration.
Don't break our concentration. It's like clearly a little display area for people to relax. But he just keeps walking, and I'm like, oh my god, he just keeps walking. And then he doesn't step over the cords. He just keeps walking, and he walks through the cords, and yanks one of the controllers out of the wall, and like trips all over himself, and then he gets up and looks around all bewildered and looks at us for a second and just goes, oh, sorry, and then just walks away. I'm like, dude, asshole. Like, what is your problem?
I mean, it's crazy, too, because...
It's not like he was even on his phone or something.
That whole place is just like a mob of people.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that kind of spatial awareness, like, I wonder how many other people he crashed into over the course of PAX.
This is like a jerk. I wish it had been, like, Peter Molyneux or something. So it could be like that dick Peter Molyneux.
Throw some cabbage at him.
But it ended up okay because one of the guys from the publisher of that game was there. He's a very nice Polish man. And I helped him reconnect the controller and like fix it up, the setup, and he gave us both free t-shirts.
Oh, nice.
This is really cool.
One last thing about Ape Out.
Yes.
Supposedly Ape Out is coming out at the end of this summer 2017. Yes. That's what we were told.
I really want this game, actually. I think it looks great.
Oh, it looks really fun.
And it plays good. Very simple controls, which is great. Here's another one that you played.
Oh, this...
I did not check out Flint Hook.
So this game looks... I mean, look at it. It looks so good.
Snazzy pixel art. I got some snazzy pixel art stuff coming up, too.
Let me find my notes on this. So this is a platformer roguelite. It was described as me as Castlevania style game.
Is a roguelite a roguelike, but less punishing?
I think so, yes. Because one of the things that I actually really enjoyed about this game is not very punishing.
Okay, that's probably why it's called that then.
It's, because I've always been kind of into the Castlevania games, but I've never been able to get super into them because I die. Really
They're pretty
quickly.
tough.
Yeah. So I was playing this game and I was like, this is fantastic. I can actually play this. And it feels challenging, but it doesn't feel frustrating.
It's not brutal difficulty. Which, I mean, roguelikes, that's typically like brutal difficulty is a trait of roguelikes.
Yeah. So this is, it's really neat. How do I describe it? You've got your little guy. It is similar, as we said, to Castlevania. So you're running around this map. It's 2D.
There are grapple points everywhere.
There are grapple points everywhere. You've got a grappling hook. It's like the first item you get. Yeah. It's sort of, in terms of its art aesthetic, it's sort of Space Pirates a little bit.
Yeah.
And the sort of the dungeon type thing that you're going through is also randomly generated, another randomly generated thing. So when I was talking to the dev, he was saying that like sometimes this can be much harder than other times, and it's one of the things they're still fine-tuning, because sometimes you'll get a randomly generated dungeon
and it's just super tough.
Yeah, because it's just full of like the hardest rooms.
Yeah.
But it's really, it's very fast-paced. You're just running around these rooms. You're grappling to everything. The animation's gorgeous on it.
Yeah.
You have a little gun. You're shooting guys. You're beating up guys. You get different items that do different cool things. And you're just trying to make your way to a boss, pretty much.
Does this game have a story of any kind? Out of curiosity.
I believe that it does. I did not. And I think I might have been playing the story mode, but I didn't get far enough to really tell you what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, this game is so cool looking. It's really nice.
It's very colorful and detailed without being too busy.
Yeah,
which I really like. A lot of times things get really muddled in their own like graphical style, like.
But this is by, let's see, I may have forgotten to write down the dev name for this.
From Tribute Games.
Tribute Games.
Who also created Mercenary Kings, which is a game I've actually seen clips from.
Oh.
It's a side-scrolling pixel game, but more of like a Rambo-style shooter thing.
Ah.
So definitely different from this, which has much more like fantasy aesthetic to it.
They were telling me, the dev was telling me that they've been working on this game for 2 years.
Cool.
And it shows.
Yeah, it looks very polished.
Yeah,
visually at least.
And it plays so smooth. Just so smooth.
The grapple mechanic looks like it works great.
Oh, it's so good.
Based on the trailer here.
And it is due out April 18th.
Cool.
So if you want to check out that game, you definitely should. It's do I know what it's coming out for? I may not have written that down. We may have that info either below this video or on their website. It might be there.
Let me check for, just do a little quick googly. Flint Hook is going to be on Xbox One and PC. So it's a limited to just Microsoft stuff.
Gotta have that come out on the Switch.
So what's this game, A.N.N.E? Or A.N.N.E?
A.N.N.E.
Run, Shoot, Fly, Explore.
Yes. So this is a shmup that I found.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned that you found a shmup.
Yeah. Although there's more to it than just the shmup. That's like half the game. When you said explore, that's like the other half of the game, which I didn't get to play. So I don't know how well that works. But I know the shmup elements of the game work really well.
Cool.
You've got your little robot man.
Oh, his robot girlfriend.
Yeah, he's got
or boyfriend.
We're not going to judge.
I don't know how that robot identifies. Big old ship. Okay, yeah. There's your shmup.
Yeah, you're flying around in your ship. I played it with a retro style Super NES controller.
Oh, cool!
And it was like one of the shoulder buttons could change which way your ship was facing, which was very cool.
It's got the there's an old shmup called, old relatively speaking. There's been new entries in it called Darius that has that mechanic.
Oh, nice!
Where you can flip directions. It's nice to see something else using that because it makes the levels a lot more dynamic.
This is the little platform.
Okay, so yeah, it turns into like a side-scrolling platformer shooter too.
Yeah,
that's great.
That looks good. I can't attest how well that plays because I didn't play that. I just played the shmup part. But the shmup part was really neat. There's all sorts of fun things like the ship has a tractor beam grappling hook type thing.
Yeah.
And you can grab like asteroids and you can fling them at enemies and stuff. You can also grab smaller ships and throw them around.
Great.
It played well. It felt good. It was a lot of fun. The art style on it is super cool.
Yeah, it's very charming.
It's going to be on PS4. It's going to be on PC and Mac. And there's a beta is coming out at the end of the summer. Same time Ape Out comes out. The beta for this is coming out. And there's going to be supposedly next year's when the final version.
An official.
Oh, this is the best thing they had this year. Yeah,
SNES bundle.
Yeah, the SNES bundle, which they had the box, the SNES
and the cartridge and the little controller with the name of the game on it.
So good.
That's great.
There. I loved it.
That's super cool.
I love looking at that. And man, it played good with that SNES controller.
That's great. So let's get into some of the stuff that I checked out at the Adult Swim Games area.
Oh.
Because there's actually some cool stuff here. First I'm going to talk about is Kingsway. And this game caught my eye because its setup was, they had a single setup of it with a PC that was set up at this cozy little desk. Just made to look like a desk in like a child's room or something. And the game, it's a fantasy like role-playing game adventure thing. But it's all run through this mock operating system. Like you're playing an old, like, DOS point-and-click adventure kind of thing. Which I thought was super clever. So, like, there's this whole element of it of, like, managing your windows on your fake desktop, and then you have, like, a quests folder. And, like, it's so great.
I love this.
It's like a super cool idea, and their setup for it was just this cozy little, like, let's play, like, Zork in our, like, bedroom kind of thing.
Oh, man, and the trailer's fantastic, because they have all the really bad, like, 90s effects.
You died. It, like, blue screens when you get killed. So this is another summer 2017 one. It's just going to be on PC, I'm pretty sure.
This is going to only require 2 gigs of RAM.
Only 2 gigs.
Wait, scroll back down to the system requirements. I gotta look at that again. Oh my gosh.
3 gigs, bro.
3 gigs of RAM.
You need a 256 megabyte graphics card.
You need a 2 gigahertz processor.
And a whopping 60 megabytes of hard drive space.
Whoa.
The cutting edge of 1994.
I mean, what I think is funny about this is if you... Aside,
minimum screen resolution 1024 by 720. I just want everybody to make sure they have the proper viewing device for this game.
Aside from the screen resolution and the memory requirement, this could play on a Windows 95.
So, very cool little game, though. I thought that it was a clever idea. I didn't actually get a chance to play it, but I made a note of it because I was like, I need to look this up and figure out more about it.
Oh yeah, I want to check this out. This looks delightful. Either delightful or incredibly tedious.
Yes. It remains to be seen. So here's another Adult Swim game called Rain World, which my wife played, and I watched her play it. It is a side-scrolling, like, I guess I call it an adventure game? You play as this weird little ferret-like creature crawling around this spooky world, and you have to eat food. You have to find food to eat, and then you have to find places to hibernate when the rain gets bad. As you can see in the trailer right now, it gets really, like, scary. And there's creepy monsters and creatures that you need to avoid and like, deal with. It's got a really cool kind of dark aesthetic to it.
So it's got kind of a limbo vibe going on.
Yeah! But instead of a little boy, you're a weird ferret blob who can squeeze. His animations are great, though, because you can, like, squeeze into little places and his hands go all, like, over the place to, like, crawl through little holes. And, like, it's very nicely animated. There's some very detailed, like, interesting background art and lighting effects. It seemed like a cool game. And it's definitely not what I would have expected to see from Adult Swim games. It seems very, like, kind of artsy for their field.
Yeah, a lot of their games were really jokey, which makes sense because it was Adult Swim. I mean, we saw Toe Jam and Earl sequel there.
Hey, man, all I gotta say about that game is I still don't get it.
Yeah.
I watched people play that game for like 15 minutes while we were there, and I was like, I don't understand why anybody likes this game.
But at least when you look at that and you look at Kingsway...
Yeah, you can see it more.
Yeah, you're like, oh, these would be Adult Swim games.
Yeah, because Kingsway has that kind of tongue-in-cheek joke kind of feel to it.
But Rain World really doesn't have that at all.
No.
It's
seems quite serious.
Brutal.
And like, yeah. Like, it seems very cool, though. It comes out on the 28th, so less than 2 weeks. You can pick that one up.
Also, one thing I'll give Adult Swim even more credit for is when you looked at the Adult Swim section, Rain World probably had the most space and was the most highlighted of everything.
They were absolutely pushing it. They had like 5 setups for it, I think. So people got a lot of chance to play it. And then the other Adult Swim game thing I looked at was Toe Jam and Earl, which was like, nothing has changed. You slowly walk around an environment talking to weird people, making bad jokes, and collecting things.
Hey, if that's what you're into.
I guess. Snake Pass. Look at this snake. So, I know what you're thinking. Wow, this looks like a Rareware game or something.
I was going to say exactly that, yes.
So Snake Pass is a game that my wife also played. Or no, she didn't play it, actually, but she talked to one of the developers. It's by a UK team. And the biggest inspiration for it was old games such as Spyro the Dragon, presumably Banjo-Kazooie, but he specifically said Spyro the Dragon.
Okay.
His inspiration, the head guy, was basically like, I love those old games, these old like collectible, like solve your puzzles, platform, get collectibles, have a big, colorful, bright, fun art style. It's like kind of a cozy game. And he misses those kind of games. So he decided to make Snake Pass. It was a game where you play as a snake, and you have a little hummingbird friend, and you have to just go through levels and solve puzzles with your snake powers. Namely, being a snake and being able to coil around things.
Is not having arms a power?
Yes. You have very good core strength as a result.
I see.
Dude, I've seen a snake climb a tree. It's crazy. They do it with just like their abs. Snakes are cut.
To be fair, snakes have a lot of room for abs. They're got a lot of abs.
They're just all abs.
They're all abs.
So snakes, you control the snake with both joysticks, and it's very interesting because it seems as though one joystick kind of controls his head and the other kind of controls his lower body, his abs, his tail area. Yeah. But that means you have to kind of move them both at the same time to get your slithering going, and use that to wrap yourself around like levers and pull them in certain ways. It's really cool. And the Hummingbird's AI was actually designed by the guy who did the AI for the Dragonfly, who's a companion in Spyro.
Oh.
Actually got him on board to do that, which is neat. But it looks really cool. It's this very colorful, fun puzzle game. A lot of people were really into it, who were playing it at the booth when I checked it out. They had a really extensive demo for PAX. It was like an hour-long demo to play. Oh. So if you were going to sit down and play it, like you were there for an hour. And they were giving away prizes for whoever had the best time beating the demo at the end of each day, which is really cool. But I love it. I think it has a really great aesthetic to it. And in the age of ukulele, we are seeing a resurgence of these sorts of games.
That's good.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad about
that. No problem with that. I don't know if we have a release date for Snake Pass.
It's going to be on the Switch.
28th? March 28th. Switch, Xbone, and PS4.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, it's going to be on Steam?
Yep. Awesome. So it's on everything.
Made in the Unreal Engine, which probably explains why it's going to be on the on the Switch.
Yep. So that's cool. Tower 57. This is the game that we were playing until the Rude Man interrupted us.
Oh, I see.
So this game is I guess I'd call it sort of a dungeon crawler. You play as the build we played of it. There are 6 characters. They all have different guns and different abilities, and it has local co-op. I think only 2 players. I don't think you can do 3 or 4 players. Although maybe you can do more. So you have all these different characters, and you're living in sort of a dystopian future in this place called Tower 57. But it's kind of a Art Deco steampunk future.
So it's like it's
kind of a Bioshock thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a colorful 16-bit Bioshock.
Yeah. And the whole goal of the game is you start on the bottom of the tower, Tower 57, and you have to climb to the top. There is a whole big story in this game. There was tons of lore and fluff that we mostly ignored because we were playing a demo at PAX. But like playing through, there were tons of like diaries to read and like little bits of information to pick up and secrets to find. So there's a lot here, I guess, way more than I could really have hoped to experience playing it at PAX. It strikes one as one of those games like you were talking about with Flint Hook, a game that is so common nowadays. You get these roguelikes with like randomly generated stages. And after I played this, the first thing I asked the guy who was there, the dev team was still in Poland because they were finishing the game. Okay. Because it's hopefully launching at the end of April, is what he said. But one of the publishers was there. His name was... I got his card. His name was Karol... very difficult Polish name.
Oh no!
I apologize if I get this wrong. I'm gonna say Zajakowski or Zajakowski, something like that. A very Polish name, but he was a really nice guy. I talked to him for a good long while about the game. One of the questions I asked him was, "Are the levels in this randomly generated? Is this like a procedurally generated dungeon crawler thing?" And he said, "No. Every level in this game, from the bottom to the top, is hand built."
Handcrafted.
And, like there's a lot of level design philosophy going into this game to put secrets and cool things to discover all over it. And I think that's great. Because, roguelikes with random generated areas have their place, but it's nice to see some games of that style still coming out that have a intelligent design behind them as far as the way the levels are laid out.
Yeah, and it looked like there was a lot of bullet heck happening in this game. And you really want
that handcrafted placement of enemies and things in areas. But I think that's good news. He also we talked about some of the weapons. There's a black hole gun in the game.
Ooh.
That's pretty fun to use. You just hold down the button and it creates a black hole that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you hold down the button. You can totally kill yourself with it if you hold it down too long. He actually told me that one of the big bugs they're working on right now is the fact that you can break the game with the black hole gun because you can accidentally suck up key items that you need to progress, like key cards and stuff, and you have no way of getting them back. So they need to, fix that. But the game, it played very well. Every character has their own, super moves and stats and things like that. One of them looks like Abe Lincoln with a, electro cannon.
Good.
So that was cool. It seems like a really neat game. This same publisher, I believe... I should probably close this. Where's the publisher here? 11-Bit Studios is the publisher. It's developed by Pixelwork. Made by 2 guys, which is really neat.
No wonder they were staying back there to work on it. There's 2 of them.
They have a programmer and an artist. And designer. And that's it. That's what they got. I'm looking at some of these screenshots too. This game looks like it gets crazy. There's dinosaurs in some of these.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. But they also were there with a couple other games, one of which was this one called Moonlighter, which is a cool dungeon crawling adventure game. You can tell the website's laid out very similarly. where you play as a guy who runs a store in a fantasy adventure world. So the idea here is you are not the adventurer, you're the guy who supplies the adventurers with all their wares.
Oh, you guys were telling me about this.
Yeah. So you have your little store, and you need to go out into the world. Oh my gosh,
this top-down makes me think of JRPGs so hard.
Right? You go out into the world and collect items and like resources and goods, which you then bring back to your store to trade to adventurers. And I think part of the idea that's fun about it is like the excuse for dungeon crawling is like, no, the shopkeeper's the coolest guy because he has to go do an adventure so you can even do your adventure. But it's cool. So it has this kind of like economics shop running side and then a like run into dungeons and kill monsters side. A cool little like double thing going on there. And it's got very, very nice pixel art, which we saw a lot of.
Now that I see him in the dungeon rooms, that looks super Zelda-y.
Yes.
It's like old school Zelda.
Yep. Where you go, you have like the grid of rooms. Look at that boss!
Ooh.
Boss is great.
Very interesting art design going on for these monsters.
Yeah, I like the color palette of it all, too. It's got kind of a light color palette. So the game's called Moonlighter, presumably because during the day he does all of his storing.
I get it!
At night he goes out and does all the other business.
I get it.
So another really cool little game.
So what is that? What is that coming out for?
This one's a long ways off.
So it's gonna be on Steam.
Yes. I think this one might not be out till like next year. And as of right now, I think it's just set for PC. But we will see where that ends up going. Approved by the Square Enix Collective.
Oh my god, they have a collective?
My god. So yeah, very cool. My wife and I also played this fighting game, an indie fighting game called Fantasy Strike. This is a game by a bunch of guys who, before this, made tabletop card games, including one called Yomi. There's two others the guy mentioned, who I talked to. Very passionate dude, by the way. Clearly a group of people who really, really like fighting games and really wanted to make a cool, fun fighting game that like anyone can pick up and play, but also has a very high skill ceiling. They made a card game called Yomi, which is a fighting game term for predicting what your opponent is going to do.
Okay.
It's really just the Japanese word for to read. But Yomi is a card game where you basically are playing a fighting game with trading cards. Your cards all are like moves and counters and things like that, and you have to play against each other to kind of like get in and then do a combo, and you have a health pool. And it seems like they took a lot of kind of the ideas of that and put them into this fighter. And I believe the guy said they also took characters from their tabletop games and adapted them into this fighting game. So these characters are characters that like already existed. As you can see from the screenshots here, maybe I can't blow that up, but you can still see it. The health bar is divided into chunks, and that is because each of those chunks is a hit. You are not whittling down a big health bar. You are just like, I gotta hit this person 6 times to beat them.
And that's it.
That's it. So combos are short, and they hurt.
And how many rounds does a fight have? Is it still just 2 rounds?
It's first to 4 on the build that we played, and it's pretty fast. Like, I feel like you get those 4 wins in the time you'd normally get your 2.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very quick-paced. You've got a good cast of characters. They're planning to launch with 10 characters. A few of these guys were not available on the build we played. The fish dude was not available, unfortunately.
What?
His whole deal, apparently, is that he's, like, a passive resistance, like defensive guy.
Oh.
Which is very interesting. I played as this dude here, this dapper gentleman, who has time powers and is a hyper-defensive character, to the point that if you walk towards your opponent, his super meter drains.
Oh.
So you're encouraged to just never walk towards your opponent. You play as him and they come to you. That's how it works.
Yeah.
His super, also, is not a damage-dealing move. His super is he freezes time and walks to the opposite side of the screen. So it's just a free reposition and reset of like where you both are. Which I thought was really cool. I played as him, and I played as the samurai dude. I played as Hanzo from Overwatch.
He does look like Hanzo from Overwatch.
But he was cool, too. He had a sword, and he had some lightning powers. He could throw little, like, thunder clouds out and stuff like that. And Corinne played as this girl with the fire bow. And I think Did you just play as the girl with the fire bow twice?
No, a ninja girl.
Oh yeah, you played as the ninja girl, that's right, who has a bunch of, like, throws and stuff.
Nobody played as the panda?
The panda was not available.
Oh, no.
I know. The dwarf-looking guy, who I think is a dragon in human form.
Oh, well, of course.
Was also not available to play. And one of the other characters, like, was there, but they said, like, wasn't really finished.
Okay.
And ready to go. But I like the art style. They've got, like, this cool cell shading, which I think it looks like just as good as, like, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. As far as the graphics for the character models go.
Yeah.
Which is impressive for an indie game. Because Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is a good-looking game.
I think the movements aren't quite as fluid as a AAA,
but they're not bad, though. And they're there enough that you can... You have that ability to read what your opponent's doing and see what's going on. There's also a Yomi counter system built into the game where if you if you stop doing anything when somebody does a throw, you automatically counter their throw and get a free hit on them. So there's like an advantage to just like being able to predict when your opponent is going to try to throw you and then stop blocking and then you beat them out instead of them throwing you out of your guard.
Let's see.
So from a fighting game standpoint, there's some interesting systems in here. It was super easy to pick up. I think there's a jump button, 2 attack buttons, and a super button. So your simple controls, very straightforward, but you can clearly like tell if you're someone who's good at fighting games and knows what you're doing. There's a lot here as far as like strategy, psyching people out, positioning, knowing what moves to use where. They even handed out a little pamphlet to everyone who played at their booth that was a rundown of each character's strengths and weaknesses and basic combos for each character. So they were like, hey, while you wait to play, check this out, look at characters, see what appeals to you, and check out what some of their basic combos are, so when you get into it, you can really try them out.
You know,
you're not just floundering with the buttons.
And maybe we'll talk more about this after we finish talking about all the different games, but in terms of, like, the things that devs did at PAX, aside from just showing you the game, there was a couple of interesting things like that I enjoyed.
But Fantasy Strike, very cool indie fighting game. I think I'm actually like going to pick this up for sure when it comes out, because Corinne and I had a blast playing the 2 matches of it that we did. It just plays really good.
Nice.
And I love the health system. It makes it feel like every hit really counts. So, very cool game.
What is this coming out for?
This is coming out, I know, on PC? Where's the list of stuff here? They have a Patreon up, by the way.
And if you subscribe, you can apparently get into play the demo version of it?
You can play the demo version. If you give a certain amount of money, you can even play characters who are not done yet and like test those characters out. It may just be being on PC for starters.
See, that's a bummer, because with a fighting game, you would expect it to be on console. And I think
the problem is getting an indie fighting game really going is a difficult task. It's not the kind of game... It's both... Fighting games are more difficult to develop than a lot of people realize, because they require so much precision and fine-tuning. Like, you cannot release an unbalanced, shitty fighting game because no one will want to play it. The fighting game community is fickle in that way. That it's almost like they don't like playing bad games.
What? But every other community's fine with it.
Because it's meant to be incredibly competitive and skill-based. So I respect them for just doing what they can here to put out the game in as good a form as they can. It will be going up on Steam Early Access, I believe, at some point soon, they were hoping. So it will be available to like a wider audience of people who want to try it out. The developer, I got their card too. They have a really nice card. It's all black with like gold finish. Sirlin Games, Sirlin. And as I said too, they already have made card games as well. So you can check those out. Very nice guys at that booth. Speaking of very nice Australians, this is the last game I really wanted to talk about today, which is Paperbark. This is a game that is being developed by a small team in Australia, and it is going to be on iOS and PC, I believe. You can already tell from this website, this is a very soothing, pleasant game.
Yeah, that art looks like...
so cozy little creatures. So this is a story As they put on here, Paperbark is a video game with an Australian accent, an honest depiction of the Australian bushland, far from a cliche or a tourist's postcard. Paperbark gives us something like the messy scrub all Australians have grown up to respect and even fear. It's a mature, considered game of the sort that could only be made in this time and place, which was said by the director of the Free Play Independent Games Festival. So this game is a game in which you play as a wombat over the course of 6 days in the Australian wilderness. And the game consists literally of touching the screen to go where you want to go. Everything is white, and then when you touch it, it fills in with like a watercolor style thing. Ooh. It looks very pretty, and it controls very well in that respect. And it's just, you walk around as this little wombat, and you discover things. You discover creatures, you discover plants, and there's little like scientific write-ups about these animals and plant species. And they actually said they had a biologist working with the team who knows about all this stuff, so they could get accurate information for everything. The art style of the game was done by a Australian children's book author and illustrator. And those children's books were a huge inspiration for this game. And the whole team is these young Australian dudes who are just like, we want to like show people Australia. We want to show people the kind of wilderness we grew up playing around in and the animals we grew up around and all this stuff, and present it in a really soothing, nice way that anyone can get into an experience. Anyone can pick up an iPad and touch the screen and play this game. Mm-hmm. Like, it's super easy. You don't need to know anything about video games. And the coolest thing, because I talked to the lead guy, like the main developer, I just spoke to him and I spoke to his friend, who was not part of the dev team, but was just there to help him out with PAX. And he was a really nice guy. He saw snow for the first time when he was at PAX. And the main developer I spoke to at length about it. And he brought up a really cool thing, which was that he wanted to develop this game in such a way that a parent could play this game with their kid as a bedtime story. Ooh. So they could sit by the bed with their kid, have the tablet, and have the kid controlling the wombat and moving around. And when they found something, like that, when the text came up, the parent could then read that text like a storybook. And when he said that, I was like, that's freaking brilliant. That's a whole new genre of video game. We don't have storybook video games. You created something brand new. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
It's super different, and it's like you get these games that people would call like artsy walking simulators and stuff, but this has more to it. It's experiencing Australia in a small little fun way, and it has a story as well, because it takes place over the course of a set period of time. So like there is an end to the story. But he didn't want to tell me too much. Oh. But apparently their game everybody kind of ignored it the first day of PAX because it was just a small, like, quaint...
Because it was educational? Is that educational.
Why? But apparently, by Saturday, like, people had seen all the big, expansive, like, AAA crazy shit.
They'd been to the Bethesda booth.
They'd been to the Bethesda booth, as I had. And they kind of ended up there, and everybody who showed up at their booth after that was like, you know what, this is really great. Really, like, it's so pretty. Like, Corinne and I walked up and said, this game looks beautiful. And the guy, the friend of the developer who was there, said, you have no idea how many times I've heard people say that since we've been here. But I guess everybody, including a bunch of the other developers, ended up kind of filtering over and checking it out. Like, they were amazed at how many people decided to, like, actually give it a look and try it out on the displays they had set up. So very cool. You guys were great. You were super nice. And I hope your game does very, very well, because I think it deserves to. It's something very unique. And I know that gets thrown around a lot in the gaming world, a unique experience. But this game's a goddamn unique experience. It's called Paperbark. Check it out.
When is it coming out? Do we know?
We don't know exactly. Later this year was the approximation I was given.
All right.
But it looks great.
This game is beautiful. It's educational.
It's
and it's
cute.
Classy as fuck.
It's classy as fuck. So good. So that looks great.
Thanks, Australia.
So that's about it for like the indie games from PAX that we had to talk about. I checked out the Bethesda booth to watch them play Prey for a while. Prey looks good. It looks like BioShock in space, but I mean that in like a good way.
In a good way,
yeah. Like I don't mean that derisively.
I mean, there were... what else about PAX? I mean, it was... I had never been to PAX before.
Me neither.
And
I've never been to a convention before.
It was... I mean, we went on Sunday rather than Friday or Saturday, so I assume it was less busy than it would have been.
I heard from some people that it was way busier the other 2 days. Which is crazy, because it got very busy at one point on Sunday.
And they sent out a survey, which I filled out the other day, and asking things about it. And there was so much to do that we spent pretty much the whole day on the show floor. I got lost multiple times.
Yes, you did. I used my video game mental mapping skills to figure out where I was.
But there was just on the show floor, there was enough to take up easily a whole day. And there's lots of stuff I didn't get to that I want to get to on the show floor. And then there were all the other the panels and other kinds of special events, and there was like a room that showcased only Kickstarter games, which we didn't get to check out.
We meant to check that out and then completely forgot about it.
There was too much other stuff to do.
Yeah.
There's no time.
There was a whole tabletop games area, too.
Oh, it was like a third of the convention floor. It was huge. Yeah.
So that was cool. There was a couple games that I just didn't want to wait in the line for. There's, by Riot Games, the League of Legends guys, Dauntless. Just their answer to Monster Hunter. They've said it's a game for people who like Monster Hunter. But it was like a 2.5 hour wait constantly to play it. And I was like, I don't care about playing it that much. But as a big Monster Hunter fan, I wanted to check it out.
There was actually a super reasonable line for Divinity Original Sin 2, but I still didn't play it because there were so many other games that didn't have a line. There's
one more game I want to talk about very briefly because I know we're running out of time, but I made a point in my mind. I got to talk about this game. It's called Elsinore. I thought I pulled up a page for it, but I guess I didn't. Elsinore is a Shakespearean time-looping adventure where you play as Ophelia from Hamlet, and the whole point of the story is Hamlet is happening, and you have 4 days to stop it with Ophelia's time-looping powers.
And Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are not helping.
They're there! Everybody's there. It's crazy. We spoke to the head designer of the game, and she was very sweet, and she set us up on a PC to play it. It is like a little isometric style game where you are in the castle, you play as Ophelia, you can talk to all the people, you can go around, everybody has a schedule they go through, and at the end of the 4 days, a la Majora's Mask, as the developer compared it to, you got to reverse time and go back with all the knowledge you've got to fix the problem and you gotta get it so nobody dies. That's really hard.
It's a tall order in Hamlet.
I know.
Wait, but Hamlet, like when it starts, it's like, my dad, he's already dead.
I mean, I don't know.
Now I gotta deal with that.
I don't know about that part. Hamlet's a big sad sack.
Is that like perfect ending? As if you can go back far enough to save his dad?
Maybe. That's the true ending.
Yeah.
So I thought this game conceptually was awesome. And you have like a big notebook that keeps track of all the things you've learned about each character and where they are at certain times, and you have to go share that information the way you think you should to fix things. So it's got a very cool Hamlet meets Groundhog Day kind of adventure.
Interesting.
Very unique idea.
You know what the graphic style reminds me a lot of the Banner Saga?
Yes, definitely. Look at that guy. He got wrecked.
Well, yeah. Because he's in Hamlet.
So you can see, like, you have all the characters and, like, odd occurrences and, like, stuff like that.
Hamlet, otherwise known as Lion King, for old people.
So Elsinore also looks super cool, and now I've talked about it.
Alright.
So check that out.
So let's talk about those memes and then games that are about to come out. We're just about out of time.
Nintendo Switch is selling really good. Nintendo's doubling production to meet demand. So there you go.
All those 5 million naysayers.
Jim Sterling gave Breath of the Wild a 7 out of 10. Massive butthurt ensued to the point that he was DDoS.
Yeah, his website was brought down because people were so upset that he gave it a 7.
All I gotta say about this is Jim Sterling thinking Breath of the Wild is good, not great, does not diminish your ability to enjoy Breath of the Wild. That game is still like minimum a 9 out of 10 for me. So if you care that much, reconsider your priorities.
there's a great article on that on Polygon. That whole
about
situation that went down earlier this week.
How dare... Well, the big deal was it dropped it from a 98 on Metacritic to a 97.
Oh, no.
So people were like, oh my god, it's not one of the top 5 greatest reviewed games of all time anymore! Ah, I hate Jim Sterling! So yeah. Somebody collected all the Korok seeds in the game in Breath of the Wild. There's 900. Guess what you get for collecting them all?
Yeah, poop.
You get a big pile of poop.
Yep.
Congratulations, idiot.
It's like a statement about the industry.
It is. I thought that was a very deep meta thing for Nintendo to do. Look, you collected all the shit. Good job, gamer. Was it worth it? Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh yeah, so this is the best. This is where we get to say "told you so."
Yeah. So I'll start by saying, I told you so.
Dan told you. I half told you, but
you weren't as all in as I was.
But Dan,
on this being bullshit.
But Dan was all in, and he was proven right.
Super correct. So, is there a term like hyper correct that I can throw around about this?
I don't know. Let's use
omni-correct.
I think hyper-correct is a good...
Okay. So Mass Effect Andromeda is due out pretty soon.
Next week, maybe?
I think so,
yeah.
Yes.
But if people have been able to play reviewers have been able to play the first few hours, people with, what were you saying, Origin?
Yes, EA Origin can play the first 10 hours of the game. We don't need audio for this. It doesn't make it better.
And people have noticed something about the game that we noticed a while ago when we were watching the trailers for the game.
People look like horrible, unfeeling monster robots. Look at the dead face. The dead, awful face.
The facial expressions range from completely dead to just bizarre, like expressions that don't make sense.
What is that conveying? Like, what
and
are
people,
you even doing?
People have made so many fantastic GIFs.
They move like freaking, they move like creepy marionette puppets or something.
Yeah, all of the like movement animations are all super weird.
Yeah.
Whenever people are running around, there's all sorts of instances.
People doing weird, like, crab walks and, like...
Yeah.
Like, even the basic jog looks kind of like... like, it's so bad. This is a AAA video game.
And it was funny, because the people were comparing it... I think this video in particular compares it to Mass Effect 1. And they do a side-by-side comparison of main characters talking in Mass Effect 1. Oh, this is one of the trailers where people were actually expressive and it looked okay?
Yeah, but it's like one scene.
But it's just one scene.
No, you know what it is. It's just a perfect example of the fact that they put all their effort into the sex scenes. Ooh, like, what is that? What the hell is this? It looks so terrible. I hate it.
But fast forward a little bit, and we can see the side by side. Oh, there we go. So they did a side by side comparison of Mass Effect from 2007, the original Mass Effect,
and this one,
and the new one,
10 years later.
And the only thing that is better in this one is that the textures are just higher resolution.
Yeah, and maybe the lighting's a little better. But the animations are way worse.
Yeah, in 2007, like, blows this game out of the water in terms of how expressive the characters are.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, because I'm like, dude, it's a decade ago.
Yeah.
And it's the same company. Like, how could you not?
I really want to know how this happened. Like, I genuinely do, because basic, like, and now it's comparing it to The Witcher, which is a less fair comparison, because The Witcher 3 is a masterpiece.
Well,
but, but still, like, the point remains that game's Witcher 3 is from 2 years ago. And it still has way better animations. Like, this is it's completely... The characters in Witcher are so freaking expressive. So we know this stuff is possible. And The Witcher is made by these guys in Poland, the smaller dev team in Poland with CD Projekt. And freaking Andromeda is made by EA. EA has a team big enough that this should not be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But it's EA.
But it is EA. That's a fair point. It is EA. So they will cut corners where they can. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah. Hopefully
and I've been saying it for a while now, but now everybody on the internet is agreeing with me. Some of the people, like reviewers who have been playing their copies of this game as well, have been reporting not so great impressions.
Yeah, the first couple hours, people have been saying, like, some people have been saying that, they're fine, but some people, like Rock, Paper, Shotgun, specifically,
so
like hates this game.
Boring and just tedious and poorly done. So I don't...
And that the writing is bad. That's one of the things that people are saying, either the writing is mediocre or the writing is bad.
Yeah.
And for a BioWare RPG...
That's not good.
That's not good.
That's not good.
So we're going to know next week when it comes out. But for now, things are looking a bit grim.
I'm sure it's still going to get good reviews. I'm still predicting minimum 8 out of 10 across the board.
10 out of 10, pretty good.
It will not get bad reviews no matter what.
No.
It will at least get, like, solid reviews.
But at least...
not, like, it's a masterpiece.
At least the internet will know
how
silly it is.
And we'll never forget. Someone on Twitter, one of the guys on the team was asking people, saying, like, oh, anyone can ask me questions about Mass Effect Andromeda. And somebody actually asked him if there were any plans to fix the animations in, like, a day one patch or something. And he said, nope. But we're going to have patches coming out at some point, but we have not discussed the content of those patches.
Well, see, that I understand how that could be a problem, because a lot of it seems like it's problems with the motion capture.
Yeah.
And it's not
motion capture and just the engine that they built it.
Yeah, and it's not like you can fix those with a patch. That's like something you have to go back and redo.
Yeah, I don't think there's any saving this game from this problem.
Yeah. It's not like someone...
Hey, those sex scenes will look pretty good.
I mean, they put the most effort into that.
They clearly did.
And that's important.
That's what people are buying this game for at this point.
Sexy aliens.
In unintentional comedy, maybe, I guess.
Yeah. You know what? I take it back. This game's going to be great. If it's all unintentional comedy and then alien sex scenes,
Sure. Whatever.
Just ignore the main story.
Just ignore it.
So what's coming out besides that? What's the date today? Do I even know?
It is the 17th.
It's the 17th.
Nier Automata came out on the PC today.
Oh.
It has been out for 10 days on everything else that it's coming out on.
On the 21st, Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out.
Yep, as well as Tokiden 2.
Troll and I.
Troll and I.
Whatever that is.
What is Troll and I?
Something.
It's about a kid named Otto who becomes friends with a troll.
Makes sense.
Set in post-World War II Scandinavia.
Oh. What else do we have here?
Mario Sports Superstars on 3DS. That's about it.
Yeah, not much.
Is this a collection of the Zero Escape games? So it looks like a collection of, like, the Zero Escape games is coming out. Just 999, Virtue's Last Reward, and... What's the other one called?
Zero Escape?
Zero Time Dilemma. That's what it is. Zero Time Dilemma.
Oh, look what's coming out on the 28th for Windows.
What's that coming out on?
Which one? Strafe! Huh?
What's the trilogy?
Oh, the trilogy is coming out on PC, PS4, and Vita.
Oh, we're getting that.
Okay. This Strafe date is actually incorrect.
Yeah, I was going to say
it has been pushed back till May.
Yeah, because when we were asking about it there, they said
yes, this has not been updated. Walking Dead season 3, episode 3 is coming out on the 28th as well. I forgot that episodes 1 and 2 even came out.
Whatever.
Who cares?
But yeah, so we'll be reporting on news next week.
Yes. We hope everybody enjoyed our PAX coverage on some cool indie games, and I hope you all take it upon yourselves to check some of those games out.
You definitely should.
They're totally worth it. I don't think we talked about any that we did not like.
No. Because it's not like everything I saw
that's not true. I talked about Toe Jam and Earl.
Oh, it's true, yeah. But no, I mean, like, we saw a lot of games, and I certainly saw some games that I didn't want to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's not like everything there was amazing.
But we didn't really check out that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I got tricked into playing one, and then I was like, oh no, this game isn't good.
Yeah, but you're not going to throw them under the bus on the
No,
podcast.
I'm not going to do that. Because they were still trying.
Yeah. I'm looking at you, Bethesda.
Bethesda.
That's about it. Check us out on social media.
We're on all that social media.
That's something else we can talk about.
You can find us by searching DCTF Podcast, or just Don't Copy That Floppy Podcast.
Yeah.
We're on all the social media. Just look for us. You'll find us. And you can also check us out on Twitch, which we broadcast live on there Friday 7 to 8 p.m. And you can also, if you just want to listen to us and you want to listen to us live, you can go to chipbit.net, listen to that streaming station. Also check out some of the other shows on there. I do one about comic books and comic book movies. I mean, if you want to listen to a show archive, we've got that on Chipbit, we've got it on YouTube, and we've got it on iTunes.
Yes.
Also, our YouTube schedule, sort of our unofficial YouTube schedule, has become new episodes of the podcast go up on there and on iTunes on Saturdays, and then gameplay goes up on Sundays.
Okay, that's
stuff
become kind of the regular thing.
Yeah,
I have some videos that you didn't take from me that I should upload, so I'm gonna start doing those. Okay, so I might just start throwing those up on Sundays as well. Because I'm gonna get to that.
Got some Breath of the Wild.
I do have some Breath of the Wild to throw up there. I also have some Hollow Knight to throw up there. That Hollow Knight bit I did was actually really fun because I went to like just this absolutely horrifying, terrible area of the game and had a good time being scared live on stream.
Good.
Because it really genuinely unsettled me.
So check us out all those places. If you want to support the show, you can go to our Patreon and give some money. There are all sorts of cool rewards.
Yep.
And if you want to support the show without paying any money, you can leave an iTunes review.
Correct.
Rate and review on there.
Thank you all for listening. Tune in next week when we talk about that week's video game news. And remember, until then, don't copy that floppy.